Oh, yes.
Where's Rachel? Where is she? Where'd you... Harvey? Where did you put her? Where did Harvey put Rachel? Hello. Hello. You're watching Nerdish. I lost my shoe. You gotta put your shoe back on. Very good. What are we doing here? Well, we do SAT, ACT prep for everyone. Yes, and the question is not where is Rachel, but when. 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's when Rachel is. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Watch it. Just see what it's like. It's for free. All week long. You can ask us questions like where's Rachel and what you do with Rachel and where is Harvey Dent. They're both studying for the SAT. It's a very important test if you want to go to college or university. Nice. I should have said university first because it rhymes. Oh, that's Catwoman. That's okay. I think we know Catwoman because we're Batmen. Let's do a problem. Yeah. We did exponents last time. What should we do? Let's factor a quadratic. Okay. Man, when it comes to education, I'm an addict. Oh my god, but not that kind of addict. No, just a quadratic addict. I hope this is factorable. Oh, it's gonna be factorable. Add 6. Okay. 6 is for Rachel. Alright. Let's take out a 2. Let's make it equal to 0. That's a good idea. Okay. So let's factor out 2. X squared minus 2. How much time do we have before Rachel explodes? Ask Harvey. Harvey. Multiply to positive 3, add to negative 2. I don't think that's possible. Oh, shoot. That's okay. Sometimes you can't factor quadratics. And sometimes you can't save Rachel. I was about to say that. I'm so sorry. No, it's good. It shows that we're tight bonded. Like Tight Bond. Original wood glue. It has a tight bond. Like me and Levi.
All right. Second to last stream.
Second to last stream ever for the next 2 days.
We got a couple of viewers going on here.
Wow, we have Matthew.
Well, we got Matthew.
And we have
Ring
we have Stream
Matthews?
Elements, it seems,
That's
in our
big
chat.
Too. That's really what we always
It's
go
always
for.
Stream Elements and Hono and Matthew.
I'm telling you, man, Hono and Ring Matthews, they're the dynamic pair.
Yeah, do you know what would be a good use of our time?
What?
To spend a day making a mashup of us saying hi to Hono and Ring Matthews in the first moments of our streams.
We have so much material for that.
Oh gosh.
Man. 2 days to the ACT. Who's excited? I know I am. Levi?
I feel similarly to how I always feel.
That's sad.
Which is a mild headache because I hate my contact lenses.
Really?
Yes. Well, it's not because I hate them. I hate them because they give me a headache.
Well, you shouldn't wear contact lenses and glasses.
Right, I took the contact lenses off.
Yeah, but
Out.
that was after you already put on your glasses.
No.
Oh. All right. Well,
Hey,
I didn't know.
Would you ask us questions?
Yeah. What do you think this is for? You think this is just all comedy, fun and games? A couple of guys just kind of,
It's not funny at all.
you know,
It's
having
not funny.
chewing the rag?
Chewing the rag.
Yeah. You ever heard that?
No.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not mentally prepared for the ACT. You want us to mentally prepare you?
You need to be physically prepared more than anything else.
Levi's right.
Yeah.
What about emotionally or spiritually? I think that's the core of your issue.
Mm-hmm.
You're not spiritually prepared for the ACT.
Yes.
This test determines everything.
Yep.
Your entire life
Your whole life.
depends on the outcome of this test.
You will literally die. Regardless of whether or not you take this test.
You will die.
You will die.
Eventually.
Yep.
There's a perfect 1-to-1 ratio
There have been studies.
of everyone that takes
Everybody
the ACT.
dies. Literally everybody.
Everyone that takes the ACT
Yes.
dies.
Right.
Eventually.
Right.
Right.
Hey, guess what, Hono?
Now, I mean, there are people that have taken the ACT that haven't died yet. And maybe they won't. Hono, you're going to be fine. This test determines very little about the outcome of your life. You're going to be okay. Just relax. Oh. These are independent events.
Yes, this is true. You will die, and you will also die if you take the ACT. So they are independent. Figured this would be the best way to teach you. You know, you got to review the things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to review the
Big
things.
time. Big time.
Oh no, you have to ask questions. Otherwise, we start talking about morbid things.
That's true. Yeah, Levi and my mind. What did I say? Levi's
Our
and
collective
my
mind.
Our collective mind ventures into dark territories. We can just act like robots and make a lot of like beep boop noises.
I have an interview for an internship tomorrow. What do I do?
All right, here's what you don't do. You, I don't know. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, there are so many things you don't do. We should probably start there.
Where is this internship? What kind of a company is this? This is for a summer internship. What are the responsibilities going to be? I guess, pick out what to wear tonight.
Yep.
Get it cleared with some figure in your life that you trust. Look up everything about this company. Like, scour their website and read every single word.
Come up with questions that you want to ask them.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Write an essay about what you know about them. The person's personal life. Summer internship at a college department. Nice. Tell them about your experience in college.
Matthews isn't in college.
Not yet.
True. I have no questions at all for them. We'll make some. I know
Come up with them.
It's called being inauthentic, and it's a big part of the business world.
No, but when at the end they'll probably ask you, "Do you have any questions for us?" And the correct response is, "No. Do you have any questions for me?"
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Because they probably won't have asked you any questions.
Try to lean back and have your feet up the whole interview.
Yep.
And be chewing gum obnoxiously.
No shoes, one sock.
One sock.
Not on your feet.
Yes.
Put it on your head.
A vague smell of something just terrible.
Fart and blame it on your interviewer.
Yes.
That's what I did.
That's
why I'm self-employed.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey man, I employ you.
Oh, what do we got? We got a question for Stream. Hono.
Oh, Honeword. Coming in for the win word.
Whoa, okay.
How about you do one and I do one?
How about that?
I think that'd be fun.
You would think that would be fun.
Let me see which one I'd like to do.
Okay. Oh no, where would you like us to start on this?
I'll do the directrix.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's try to find stuff that's actually going to be on the test. Ooh, I'm going to do 20. I'm going to do 20. Okay, 20 and 21. I got 20. I love 20.
Dude, you don't even know 20.
I know 20. Watch the first couple episodes.
I have no emotions about that anymore.
Yes, you
I'm
do.
just done.
You have so many emotions about that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you have a lot of them.
Make it big. Make it big.
We're going to make it big.
Make it bigger. It's too small still. Put it up in the corner. Yes. Put it up in the corner.
No.
Why?
It's nice to have a little buffer.
I disagree completely.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think it's nice to have zero buffer.
No, it's always important to have a buffer.
Will you do 20 already?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're dragging your feet.
I am...
You're dragging your feet metaphorically.
Okay, so here's the deal with these questions. When you deal with radicals, your brain doesn't process radicals very well. Your brain processes exponents pretty well because there's no weird signage, right? We're good with numbers. Signs, like the radical, meh. Especially when it's radicals and exponents mixed together. You know how radicals convert into exponents. They become fractional exponents. What I recommend for this type of question is to put everything in terms of exponents, because then you can do your exponent rules. So let's convert the given thing into exponents. So we have, I'll start over here. The given thing is rad 16x squared times x to the 2/3 plus cube root of 8x to the 5th plus cube root of 8x to the 5th, right? Yes. 8x to the 5th. Hey, ask us your questions in the Discord or in the chat. You know, I would say that nobody has ever benefited from us if they haven't asked us questions, and that's simply not the case because Daniel got a 36.
by lurking.
Ugh.
I don't like it when you do that, ever. I've never liked it when you did that. Never once have I ever had a positive response at any point when you've done that.
That's why I
around
do
me.
it. I'm just trying to get under your skin, man. I'm trying to create some space between
under
your
there.
skin and your body.
Okay.
So it's easy to remove your skin eventually.
Slough it off.
And then wear it.
What kind of dress code is that?
That's what...
There's formal, there's
Ring ma-
semi-formal, and then there's other people's skin.
Yeah, Rig Matthews, that's what you want to do. You
Yeah.
got to find someone else's skin, apply it to yours. Wear it like it's your own.
Okay, so to convert this stuff, I'm going to actually just deal with the constants because those actually go away pretty well. So this is going to be the square root of 16 is 4. Then we have the square root of x squared. That'll be x squared, or it'll be x to the 2 over 2, but that'll just be x. So we have 4x times x to the 2/3 plus the cube root of 8 is 2. So we have 2, and then we have x to the 5/3 power.
Yeah.
Please let me know if that doesn't make sense. It seems like that's what you're studying on this problem, Hono, so you probably do understand that. Let me know if you don't. Then we're going to do product rule here. So when we multiply the bases, we add the exponents. This is x to the first. So in terms of thirds, that would be 3/3. So we're going to get 4x to the 5/3. Ooh, look at that. Plus 2x to the 5/3.
Yay.
Wait, so do you leave it as 3/5 for 2x? It's not 3/5, it's 5/3. Maybe you just miswrote that. Yes, you do leave it like this because this is 3 over 3, so you add them, you get 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3 is 5 over 3. And now we actually have like terms, which is great. So this becomes 6x to the 5/3, which we may or may not have. Oh yeah, that clearly looks like either 1 or 2. So we have this 5/3. The bottom of the denominator, or the denominator of a fractional exponent is that root of the thing. So we have 6, which is in both 1 and 2, but then it's either the third root or the fifth root. It has to be the third root. So this is equivalent to 6, and then the third root of x to the fifth. Do you have any questions on this, aside from that one that you just asked that I think I answered? If I didn't answer that adequately, please ask it again in another way.
You made that click so hard.
Oh my gosh, thanks. Do you remember Cam Jansen?
Yes.
She was not real, but she did click whenever she was a detective, a child detective.
I think you're thinking of...
I don't think I am.
All right.
I started plugging in a panic. That's not a bad idea, but that's going to be super messy.
You're not going to learn what they want you to learn doing that.
Yeah. That's a good last-ditch effort when you don't know what's going on. You plug in values because you have variables in the question and variables in the answer. That's a good idea. But in this case, you want to convert everything to exponents. It makes things way easier. Now, I did maybe higher-level stuff by knowing that this is 4, so I just took it out, and then we have x to the first from there. But the whole time, I'm just trying to make it into exponents only. So I got x, there are 6x to the 5/3. And then sometimes you need to, the answers are more complicated. Or this answer is a little bit more complicated, so you have to convert all of the possible answer choices into just exponents and then compare.
Shall I?
You shall.
There it is.
Oh.
There it is.
Why not bigger, my lord?
Oh, I'm going to make it huge. I'm going to add a buffer, even though you hate buffers.
Do you want to put it on the left or the right?
Do you want to put it on the left or right? I'm going to put it up the left, and I'm not going to have a buffer. I'm going to be bufferless. That's okay with you. Bufferless. All right. Which equation represents a parabola with a focus of -2, 5, and a directrix of y is equal to 9? A couple different ways to do this. All right. First thing. The focus. The focus, we're going to be subtracting. Are you going to pretend to do what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. We're going to be subtracting the focus away from... Let me think about this for a sec. That was 9. Okay. We're first going to... Let's just draw this thing. Let's get an idea of what this thing looks like. All right. So the focus is at negative 2 comma 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is right here. And the directrix is at y is equal to 9. Let me give myself a more space.
Lost.
Here we go. Y equals 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the directrix is this line right here. So a parabola is all the collections of points that are the same distance away from the focus and the directrix, which the most obvious one is going to be this one. It's right between it, and then it goes this way. Fantastic. Okay, and I think you had that drawn. Yeah, you did have that drawn, but this is more for me. This is, it's for me. Okay, so a couple of things here. Your overall formula here is going to look like this. This is going to be, you're going to say a x minus h squared, where k and h are the focus point, okay? So if our focus is at negative 2, we want this to be x plus 2. I'm sorry, this shouldn't be squared. Okay, ruined everything. X plus 2 squared. And our k value is going to be 9. Well, I'm sorry, is that? No, I'm sorry, it's 5. Y minus 5. Which we don't have, do we? Interesting. Very interesting. Levi.
Yes.
Front center.
Yes.
My lord. Okay. Let's make this. You want to make this big first? The big screen.
Who?
Just the whole thing. Make it big screen.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Probably with a focus of that and a directrix of 9.
So I know how to find the focus and directrix of a standard parabola.
What do you mean by a standard parabola?
Ax squared plus bx plus c.
Okay.
But in this case, I would assume that your y minus k would be y minus 5. Unless I totally have this wrong. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. What?
Can you look up
Yes.
its standard form of a parabola?
Right.
Which is actually, what we've been doing is, there's a different name for it. Okay, we're going to be okay here. We're going to get this, Ono.
So what do you want?
We're going to learn together. It is the, just look up the equation for a parabola, but it's the conic one, which is not standard ax squared plus bx plus c. This is an up and down parabola, so it's like a standard parabola where, y equals x squared. So one thing we know it's not going to be, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are off the table, because that would result in y squared. Advertises stream. Thank you, Ring Matthews. 1 and 2 would result in a y squared term. There we go. There, let's get some viewers here. So 1 and 2 are off the table. So x and, 3 and 4. 3 and 4 have the appropriate squared term. We're going to get an x squared term there, which is good. It's just the rest of this that's going to be weird. So keep in mind that, you got it?
What do you want me to Google exactly?
It is the equation for a parabola.
Like x, but not.
It's like conics. Look up conics equation for a parabola. All right. This distance here and this distance here, the distance between the directrix and the vertex, and then the vertex and the focus. When you finally find your a value, we said a is equal to 1 over 4p, and then p is that distance.
Okay, so it's x minus h squared
Right?
equals 4p y minus k.
Okay.
So 4 times p instead of a.
Okay. So x minus, I'm just going to write this. You said x minus h squared.
X minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k.
Times y minus k. And they say that h and k are...
HK is the vertex. The focus is at h comma k plus p.
The vertex, though, is hk.
Yes.
The vertex is hk.
The vertex.
The
is
vertex is hk. That's what we're doing wrong. Okay, the vertex is HK. So in this case, let's find our vertex. Our vertex is right between the focus and the directrix. It's going to have the same x value as our focus, which is going to be -2, which we thought the entire time. But our y value of our vertex is going to be between, this is y equals 9, and this is y is equal to 5. Which means if we're right between, it's going to be 7. So right here, that is our vertex, -2, 7. All right, so now we can plug this stuff in and expect to get something good. We're going to have x minus -2, which is x plus 2 squared, is equal to 4p, we'll talk about that in a sec, times y minus 7. Let's see if that does anything for us. 3 and 4 are still on the table. All right, so we have to figure out this 4p business. Okay, so what p is the distance from your focus to the vertex, which will be equal to the distance between vertex and directrix. All right, and in this case, our p, if we're going right here, this is 7. Our p value is 2. So therefore, 4p is going to be either +8 or -8. All right. If I just solve this thing for the y minus 7, I think it's going to be pretty obvious if we want 8 or -8. I apologize for not knowing this offhand. But for number 3, for instance, let's divide by 8. So we're going to have y minus 7 is equal to 1/8 x minus x plus 2 squared. The problem with this is that this is going to give us our a value of +1/8, which means it's going to be going upward. So we do, in fact, want a -4p value, which is going to be number 4. Which is what you got originally. Yeah. So steps are find what the vertex is. That's what actually is going to be your h and k. Find your p value. P value will be negative, or once you find your p, your p value will be negative if the parabola opens downward, and it'll be positive if it opens upward. And that's called learning together. Is this an actual ACT question? Sky Reaper, no, it is not. This is somebody's homework. It's a conics question, and we usually don't do questions like this, but no one else is asking anything.
Yeah, Sky Reaper.
Sky Reaper.
Thank God all you want, but you should definitely ask us questions.
Ask a question.
You have to ask us questions.
Ask us questions. Otherwise, have us on in the background while you're doing laundry. Also
Yes.
a valid thing, but if you're not doing laundry, you should be asking us questions.
Yes. What?
Huh?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Homeward. I guess probably should ask you, does that all make sense, Homeward?
Yes, thank you, Matthew.
Thanks, Ring Matthews. You're a doll. Yeah, it does. Thank you. Good. Oh,
Very good. Very good.
Extremely good.
I want to, my lord.
But you have that one on
Why
the left.
not? Okay, my lord.
That's what you have to say, huh?
That's all.
Honestly, I've understood algebra better from you guys. Oh no, we don't go to violence. Oh no, thank you. You are a very, very good viewer, and you ask us all sorts of questions, and you kill it.
We also understand algebra better when we explain it.
That's true. You do learn a lot when you teach stuff.
Yeah.
They've done studies. They keep them in like an ivory tower.
The studies?
Where no, the people that do the studies.
Oh.
They're
Yes.
talking about. Oh no, we're glad to help. We're glad to help.
We need some more questions.
I gotta adjust the camera because we're starting to see this little corner here. Or I can just redraw the corner. It's on the other side. Oh, that's better. Okay. Jeez.
Is there any realm of the ACT that any of you want us to do? You don't have to have questions in mind necessarily, but we can pull up an ACT and we can look at it.
Yeah, there's a pretty cool reading strategy that'll speed you up, but we'll only tell you guys about it if you want to know about it.
Yeah, otherwise we'll
we
just
won't
tell each other.
Won't tell you. Yeah, we'll just tell each other. Levi and I love talking about it with each other. Sure, reading. What's the essay for the ACT? More like, what's the AC for the SAT?
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay, let's pull up yeah, it is very different, Hono.
Let's go to reading first.
Okay, you want to do it?
Yeah. And then you'll be Mr. Essay.
Okay, you want me to pull up an ACT?
Yes.
What ACT?
A good one.
FPRE.
Yeah. Okay. ACT reading, just like SAT reading, it's about your ability to find textual evidence to back up your answers. What you should not be doing is reading the whole thing, putting up an iron curtain, and then doing all the questions and never peeking over the iron curtain. I don't know why that's what I used for that metaphor. It's a very organic, holistic process of going back and forth between text, questions, text, questions. See what a question asks you. Ask yourself, where in the text do they talk about that? Go to that part, read around a little bit, find something that matches in your answers. All right? It's very simple. All right? Answers, correct question. It feeds back into itself. Oh, I like this one. This is the race one. Swimming race. Just to make sure that's clear. There we go. All right, so the difficult part about the ACT compared to the SAT is that the ACT is a lot faster paced. It can be difficult to finish sections, especially the reading and science.
You want this way?
I'm gonna need to be scrolling, so like it's on, yeah, go on the other side. So here's just a little tip on how to increase your reading speed tenfold. No, I'm just kidding. Probably like 10% faster, which can be super helpful. Okay.
Mouse is there now, so you can scroll.
Thank you, Leeward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Here's what you're going to want to do. Before you start reading, peek down at the questions. I know you're going to be like, whoa, we read all the questions? Not exactly. Here's what you do. Look at the questions real quick. Find the questions that mention line numbers, okay? Number 1 does not. Number 2 does not. Number 3 does not. Number 4 does not. I swear there'll be some. Number 5, no. Number 6, that's one of them. So number 6 says line 80. I'm just going to write them up here because I have to scroll back and forth. It's not going to be fun. ACT doesn't have vocab and context. No, they ask about vocab sometimes. Yeah, they ask about vocab sometimes. They don't call it exactly that, but anyway, number 8, lines 35 to 36. So we got number 9, and then we have number 10 is line 67. Good, we got 3 of them. You won't do what I just did. I'm only doing this because I have to, because I can't go back and forth. As you find these line numbers, you're going to go to where they are, and you're going to put a little line next to them with your pencil. I clearly can't get to line 80 because that's on the other side of this thing, but I'll show you what I mean. So line 35 to 36 would be right here. So what I would do is I would just make a little vertical line right there, but it'd be on my paper, okay? A little vertical line next to all these line numbers. Here's the advantage. Once you got them all marked, you start reading. When you get to one of these marked sections, there's going to be a question about it. So the way to waste all the time in the world is to keep reading, do all the other questions, blah, 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 eventually get back to this one, and then say, oh, I forgot about what's in those lines. And then you go back and you reread this instead. Once you get to a marked area, read that marked area, do that question immediately. Do it immediately. You just read it and you also knew there's a question about it, okay? So that's one of the questions done. Once you're done with that question, come back, then keep going. Keep reading. You'll eventually get to line 67. Once you read line 67, do that question immediately. Come back, keep reading. Line 80, do that one immediately. Come back, keep reading, okay? By the time you're done with this thing, you've already got 3 questions done, and you won't have had to look back and read those 3 sections a second time, which is just, it's not good. Good use of your time. Now, the one caveat is this whole marking the line numbers thing. You better be able to do this like an athlete. You need to look at these line numbers and have all of them marked within like 15 seconds. You got to go really, really quick here. Otherwise, like if you're just leisurely, oh, I know I'm going to have to go here, and let me mark it over here, you're wasting the time that this is going to, give you back. So make sure that you do this as fast as possible. The questions also sometimes ask, according to the second paragraph, blah, 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 blah. That's going to mean that you want to, put a line next to the second paragraph. And when you finish that paragraph, go and do that question, okay? This is, it might seem just like, oh, okay, I don't really see that. Is that going to make that much of a difference? 1 or 2 extra minutes on this test could make a huge difference. If you have time to just do a couple more, then, that's the difference between a score and a score that's better. It's that simple, okay? Hopefully that helped. if you've taken the ACT before or just gone through reading sections, you also might have an idea of which passages you like and which ones you don't like. The first one is prose. It's the literary one. It's the one that's like a story. The second one is social science, humanities. Arts and humanities or social science. Hold on. Here we go. Social science. The third one is arts and humanities. I think I might not finish the ACT now because I just found out they didn't allow my extra time. Oh, I'm sorry, Hono. That stinks. Extra time is super helpful. Third one is arts and humanities, and fourth is natural science. If one of those does not float your boat, leave that till the end. Usually there's a split between like certain students that really don't like the science one and certain students that really don't like the literary one. You can also not like the social science or the arts and humanities, but those are always so random, you're not sure what they're going to get. But like one of them is super hardcore science, one of them is way more like subjective characters and feelings and things like that. So if one of those is way more interesting to you, you should do that first, or really just the one that you don't like the most, do that last, because there's a good chance you won't finish. We don't want you wasting time on one that'll take you long because you don't like it, and that you'll probably do worse on because you find it boring. And also, if you start with one that like it doesn't really boost your confidence, it's going to ruin your confidence for the rest of the reading section. So we want all the things that are going to ruin your confidence, we want them at the end of the section, so that for most of it, you've done the best you could. Hope that helps. Levi,
Yes, my
you want
lord.
to talk essay?
Why not, my lord?
Very good. Very good. Levi, we have 22 viewers right now.
Do we?
Nope.
I don't think so.
I'm just kidding. We're just having a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, Levi Jennings.
Hey, Hono, real quick. Okay, so who's actually taking the ACT tomorrow? Because the ACT essay is very much just for the ACT. So if you're not taking it, then I won't talk about it. Hono, are you saying that you're not getting extra time, so you're not taking the ACT, or you're just, gonna have to work much faster now, and you will be taking it? Happy to help and talk about the essay, but you need to tell me if you need the help. Otherwise, I would prefer to talk about anything else. I am taking it, but I think I'm screwed. Got it. You need a comma there after it, so you have comma fanboys, because you're separating two independent clauses. Just saying, let's pull up this test again, actually, and let me just scroll down first to where they have the essay. Kids stuff. That's fun. Okay, so this passage is called Kids Stuff. Hono, this essay is not like the ACT. It is not a rhetorical analysis. You are making a totally new argument this time. Okay, and anybody else who's doing the essay, you're making an argument. It's not like the SAT. Toys are for children, right? Not anymore. Okay, so this first blurb is actually giving you information. It's nobody's opinion. It's just some factual stuff, some general explanations of some phenomenon, and then we have three perspectives on that topic. And these are different perspectives, and then you write your own perspective, sort of. So, toys are for children, right? Not anymore. In recent years, things that used to be considered kids stuff have grown in popularity among grown-ups, like Pokemon cards, like Twitch with video games. Like the SAT, it used to be mainly kids, but now it's older people too. Nowadays, adults regularly play video games, oh there we go, watch animated movies and TV shows, purchase dolls. Okay, so this type of thing. Is adult enjoyment of children's entertainment merely a sign of immaturity? In what ways can playing with kids' stuff change the way adults understand today's youth? Given that toys, games, and publications that used to be exclusively for children are now growing in popularity among adults, is it worth considering the effects and implications of this trend? Okay, so they're giving you a topic and they're asking some questions. What is the relationship? What adults are doing kid stuff. Great. Is it immaturity? Is it important? Does it help us understand kids? Whatever, something like that. So perspective 1 is going to be its own take on this. It's good for adults to be familiar with kid stuff. They'll understand the lives of children better and be more responsive to their needs, interests, and problems. Great. So that's positive. I think your stream cut. Are you you're probably right.
Tell them that you think their stream cut.
I think your stream cut.
Nice.
How is everybody else seeing it? We seem to have the right amount of stuff. I don't know. Is Bird, can you
check?
It seems actually, I don't know. Your stream is fine. Never mind, you got it back. Very good, Sky Reaper. Do you have any questions? I know every time you comment, I'm going to ask you if you have questions. Since you're not, but thank you for telling us that the stream may or may not have cut. Okay, so this first perspective is pretty positive, right? We can adults can understand the lives of children better. Interesting. Perspective 2. Adults need to be models of maturity and responsibility. When they act and think like children, kids have no one to look up to for guidance. Okay, so that's negative. And then perspective 3. Children need their own cultural space, their own books, their own toys, their own movies, in which to explore their ideas. When adults start to take over that space, kids lose out. Okay, so the essay here is you need to consider these 3. Why isn't this working? Because it's not there. So you need to consider these 3 perspectives when you write your essay. So your task is to write your own coherent essay about the trend of adults playing with kids' stuff. In your essay, be sure to clearly state your own perspective and analyze the relationship between your perspective and at least one other. And then develop and support your ideas with reasoning and examples. Organize your ideas clearly, communicate your ideas effectively, of course. Your perspective may be in full agreement with any of those given, in partial agreement, or completely different. So, this is, if you're used to a 5-paragraph essay, this is your setup again. So you introduce the idea. Here's the trend. Here's what's going on in general in, I guess, American society, whatever you want to say. And I think it's good, or I think it's bad, whatever it might be. Let's say that we think, I think let's take, we kind of line up with perspective 1. So I wouldn't say that it's useful to refer to it as perspective 1. But you can say the perspective. Thank you for the follows, Sky Reaper. We appreciate it. So our thesis is going to be, we think it's good because it allows adults to better connect with children. And that's a positive. Okay? And then, or it allows, and then, so better connection with children and adults. Great, so that's our thesis. And then the first body paragraph can basically be perspective 1 with some examples. Now, don't make up facts and things like that, but you want to effectively communicate the idea and clearly and logically say that it gives adults and children common ground over which to bond. So, a father and son can play video games together, and the mother and son can play with dolls. What else do kids do? Dolls and video games? Anything else, Brady? That's basically it. Only 2 kid things.
Dominoes?
Dominoes, yes. A mother and daughter can play dominoes together, as I think every American family does. So that gives common ground. So that's what you're saying. You weave in perspective 1. Don't call it perspective 1. It's okay as long as you're not using that as a crutch of, it's not particularly productive to say, I agree with perspective 1. Also, with American essay writing, we generally don't use the word I. So this is not a first-person essay, okay? So keep that in mind. And then your second paragraph can be, now you can compare it to perspective 2, which is adults need to be models of maturity and responsibility. When they act and think like children, kids have no one to look to for guidance. You can say, introduce this idea as there is an argument to be made that playing with kids' toys makes adults less mature, and therefore kids, whatever. Basically, restate perspective 2, and then you refute it. Okay, so refute it and say, well, that's BS because playing with Pokemon cards doesn't make you a child. again, it's the common ground. Wait, so then can I not use like personal experience to support my other claims? You can draw ideas from your personal experience, but it's generally not good form to say, hey, I have this experience, and so I'm right. You should say, many children have this experience, or many adults do this, something like that. You can extrapolate from your own experiences that this is a common thing to do. Don't give numbers, but you can say something like many adults play with Pokemon cards and give kids something to look forward to or look up like that. That's fine. That's not making up facts or figures. It's a statement of fact that there are enormous world competitions of Fortnite and things like that are kids stuff, but obviously a lot of adults do it. And then the second paragraph, refuting perspective 2, is dealing with, okay, I'm going to refute this idea and say, actually, by doing something that kids are also doing, adults can show them how to, it's a vehicle for learning responsibility and maturity, right? Like a 2-year-old playing Fortnite is not going to play it as responsibly or maturely as a 25-year-old playing Fortnite. And so the 25-year-old, in this, really profound relationship with the 2-year-old that they play online together or something, the 2-year-old can learn, oh, okay, you want to respect other players by not, I don't know what you do in Fortnite that's annoying, but you can show people how to be mature doing kids activities, something like that. So that could be your second paragraph. It's just the ideas. And then, just like any other essay, you want to have good punctuation, good grammar. You want to transition between things well. Notice the first bullet point here says, clearly state your own, and where is it? Where's the second one? No, first one, second line. Analyze the relationship between your perspective and at least one other perspective. So your perspective, we're basically saying our perspective is perspective 1. We want to analyze the relationship between that and perspective 2. And so say, well, actually, that common ground is good for maturing and learning responsibility. And then if you want, go to perspective 3 or come up with another thing that you think is positive for kids. You could bring up perspective 3 and say some people think this, but actually kids don't want their own space away from adults. They actually really want to be around adults because most kids want to be mature. Most kids are, everybody looks forward to getting older when they're very, very young, and then sort of vice versa. So that's the approach. It's a normal, argumentative, persuasive essay. Conclude the way you conclude, make some nice thing, tie it in a bow at the end. But it's not as weird as the SAT essay. It's not a rhetorical analysis. You are making your own argument. Do you have any questions on that, Hono, or anybody else? Do you have any other questions in general about the ACT? Any of the sections, we can pull up any of the sections. Obviously, we have this test that we're referencing, and if you want to know what this test is, I can put it in the chat. Was that a... Okay, so no questions. Very good. Man, I hate these essays. They're so annoying.
I thought you wrote that.
No, you didn't think that.
I believe so.
Can we go over science? Bird, science.
Sure.
Ah.
Who's asking?
Hono.
I thought I killed him.
You thought you killed Hono, huh, Bird? Okay. What's a good one to do?
Homeward.
Oh no, that one's tough. I don't
What about science do you want to talk about?
Ooh. You want to do this because it can be graphs and y-axis stuff.
Sure. Hold on, let's.
Bird,
Okay.
the red dot. It's back.
Oh no, what do we do?
It's the red dot that none of you can see that we can see.
Oh no, we'll just go through a passage. You can just kind of watch me, kind of fiddle around. I think you'll like it.
Okay.
We're good. How hard does the science get? On a scale of what? I mean, every passage has some easy questions and some hard questions.
The answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is absolutely not.
Yeah. So the science section, it gets harder within each passage. So the passages have, a handful of several questions, and the first question, second question are generally very simple, and then by the time you get to the last question, they're much more complicated, which is good. You just go in order almost always. I can't think of you always go in order for the questions themselves.
Yeah, there's no way to sort of like speed it
So
up.
like question 1 is not necessarily easier than this question 21 because they both be the beginning questions of their respective passages.
Yes.
Just do whichever.
Yeah, the passages themselves don't get harder. There's just the conflicting viewpoints which you want to leave till the end, because that one takes the longest. All right, so remember, we are going to just ignore, let me see, hold on, let me get this over here. We're just going to ignore all the stuff at the top. We're going to go straight to the question. All right, so 21. According to figure 2, the maximum positive value of Vs was what? So I go to figure 2. All right, now this is an interesting graph. We got an x-axis, which is time, but we have two y-axes. Count them, 2, 1, 2, okay? We got current, A, and we have voltage, V. And they're asking about Vs, which is the dotted line. So we want to track the dotted line. We want to find the max that it gets, which is going to be right around there. And we want to track it, because it's a voltage, we want to track it to the right, because that is where the y-axis that we're going to use is. We track it to the right. It's somewhere between 200 and 300. We have a couple answers that are there, so we have to be a little more specific. It looks like it's close to being halfway between 200 and 300, but the closest one here is 250. I would aim more for like 240, but that's not an answer. But 250 is the closest one. 200 would be way too low. 275 would be much closer to 300, so 250 is the way to go. All right, great. 22, sorry. A period is the time required for a wave to complete one full cycle. Based on figure 3, the period for VL was, all right, VL is the thick dotted line, so that's this one right here. And a period is the entire time to complete a cycle. And in this one, it starts at the top of a wave, goes down, and then ends up back at the top of a wave. So this entire graph is really one period of VL. So it's going to be the whole graph, which is 20 milliseconds, which is H. All right? So far, we're absolutely killing it. And by we, I mean me. I'm killing this.
All right, very good.
Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself there.
Oh, that's what happens.
Absolutely. All right. According to figure 2 and 3, which voltage varied the least during the 20 millisecond interval? And we got all these different V's to look at. We got VS, VR, VL, and VC. We're looking at figure 2 and figure 3. Figure 2 we know has VS, and then figure 3 has VR, VL, and VC. And we're asking which one varied the least. So these are all sinusoidal. So we're looking for the one with the smallest amplitude, because that means that it does not go up and down as much as the other ones. So this VS goes up to like 250. We already talked about that, down to negative 250. I mean, we can already tell it's this one, VL. VL has a very small amplitude. It's just about 50. That's the smallest amplitude. It only goes between 50 and negative 50. So that's the one that we want, which is VL. Yawn coming. Yawn here. Yawn happening. Yawn over. Hey, Levi. Come yawn over. Okay. No, don't. I'm kidding.
No? Okay. Very good.
Okay, number 24. Polarity refers to whether a voltage is positive or negative. A voltage of 0 has no polarity and can be ignored. Based on figures in 2 and 3, which two voltages were always opposite in polarity? Interesting. All right, well, one of the voltages is here, and the other 3 voltages are here. So let's first compare these 3, because it might be a little easier to see if there's any opposites. So we'll start with VR. So VR goes up, and then it goes down, then back to normal. So we want to look for here is one that goes down, and then up, and then back to normal. And it looks like none of them do that. It starts at its sort of 0 point, and this one already starts at the top. This one starts at the bottom. So that's not really what's happening. It's not going to be those. All right, let's look at this thick dotted line. Starts at the top, goes down to the bottom, and then goes back up to the top again. Interesting, because this one here, VC, starts at the bottom, goes up to the top, and goes back to the bottom again. Okay, so they're kind of doing opposite things. VS here is not really, I guess you could say it's almost in phase. It's really not, though. VS doesn't really match any of these. And remember, polarity refers to negative or positive. So not only does it look really good for VC and VL, but they switch right at 0. One becomes negative while the other one becomes positive, which is, I am so happy with this answer, you would not even believe it. So VL and VC is going to be what we got here. BL and BC, that's going to be H. All right, let's keep going. Everybody having a good time? Hope so. If you're not, you can tell me. And if it's something that I'm doing, I'll stop. But hopefully, everyone's having fun. Number 25. Based on figure 2, at which of the following times was the current in the circuit flowing counterclockwise? Hey, Levi, now that Brady's distracted, we can secretly communicate. Matthew, I see that on YouTube. Don't tell the others. Very good. That's right, Matthew. Okay, we're looking at figure 2, which we looked at before. They're asking about the current in the circuit flowing counterclockwise. Here's where things start getting a little weird. Current is on the y-axis, on the left y-axis. Counterclockwise, we don't know based on this graph, all right? And sometimes you also might say, well, which line is the current? We have I and we have VS, and if you're not well-versed in electronics, you might not know which one is the current. So we have to do a little bit of background work. Now we go back up here, all right? We're looking for two things. Number one, what is current? Or at least how is it represented? Number two, what is this whole counterclockwise versus clockwise business? All right, nothing is here. Let's look through here. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, electron current can either flow clockwise, which is positive, or counterclockwise, which is negative. Figure 2 shows how the electric current in the circuit I. Look at that. All right, they're calling the current I. So we now know that I is definitely current, and they're asking for when is the current flowing counterclockwise, which means negative current. So when do we have a negative current? We're looking at this dark line, and it becomes negative. It hits 0 at 10, and it's negative between 10 and 20. That's what we're looking at here. So any of these between 10 and 20, 15. We don't want to pick 10 because it's 0 at 10. It's switching, but it hasn't switched yet. But at 15, we're definitely in the negative, so it must be flowing counterclockwise. So keep in mind, I just did 1, 2, 3, 4 questions without even reading the passage. This fifth question was the first one that I had to do a little detective work, okay? That saved a lot of time not having to read everything to start with because there's a lot of information up there that is not really necessary. And now we are on to the very last question. Number 26. The table below lists the electric charge in microcoulombs stored on the capacitor at 3 different times during the 20 millisecond interval. Based on figures 2 and 3, from time equals 7 milliseconds through time equals 13 milliseconds, did the charge on the capacitor more likely change in sync with I or with VC? Let's first examine this table. This tells us that the charge stored on the capacitor at 3 different times. And it looks like as we move from time as 7 to 10 to 13, our charge goes up and then back down. So it hits a peak at 10. That's the important thing. It's on its way up from 7 to 10, hits its peak at 10, and then goes back down to 13. Okay? So when they're saying which one changes in sync with, it's which one is also going up and then going down over that time interval from 7 to 13. And we get I or VC to look at. So I is right here. So from 7 to 13, 7 it's up here, 13 is down here. So it just kind of went down the entire time, which is not really what we're looking for. So I'm going to guess it's VC. Let's go check out VC. All right, it's this dotted line. At 7, it's still on its way up. And at 13, it's on its way down. And at 10, it hits its peak, which is exactly what the charge in the capacitor is doing. So I know it's going to be VC. And so I can get rid of F and G. It's going to be VC. Let's see what they say. Over that time interval, both the charge and VC decreased and then increased. That's not true. Over that time interval, both the charge and VC increased and then decreased. That is true. Okay? Now, if you weren't able to figure out part of this, you could always eliminate 2 options because the reason they give you is simply false. We know that the charge goes up and then down. And so saying that it decreased and then increased is wrong. It increased then decreased. So F is wrong because it's saying that it's decreased and increased, and H is also wrong because it's saying it decreased and increased. So if you can't figure out the rest of this, you've already eliminated 2, so you got a 50-50 shot of getting it right, okay? So, you know, it's there's always some things you can kind of cross off, which gets you oh so much closer to that golden nugget that is the correct answer that you can only purchase at McDonald's. We're also sponsored by McDonald's. All right. Hono, how was that for you? That was a science section right there. Or rather, it was a science passage. The more that you look at these passages, the more you'll see repeats of types of questions. You know, there's the type of question where... I'm going to turn this off for a sec.
Oh no, so it's pretty good.
I doubt it. you might have, let's just make up a graph here. We're going to say we have time. We're going to say here we have Levi. Levi's on the y-axis, and he's going to be measured in gallons. All right, let's say we got 0, 10, 20, 30. Fantastic. Time. 0, this will be 5 milliseconds. This will be 10, 15, 20. That's 20, so that's 15. All that stuff. Okay, great. We got some line. Let's say it looks like this. Okay, say it looks like that. Okay. So the very last point we get is that at 20 milliseconds, Levi is about 30 gallons. What does that mean? Don't even worry about it. One of the questions that they might ask you is interpolation, which is looking between points to find something. In which, you know what, we'll get to that in a sec. Extrapolation, which is looking outside of the data to find something. So they might say something like, we know that we didn't test this, but at t is equal to 40, at t is equal to 25, Levi would most likely have been what? And as you can see, the graph doesn't go to 25, it stops at 20. So what they want you to do is apply the pattern that you see forward. So there's this line that keeps going upwards. The best assumption we can make, at least in the short term, is that it keeps going kind of upwards at that angle right there. All right. So I'm just sort of going to keep this thing going. All right. It's kind of like that. And now 25 we don't have here, but we're just going to add it. All right. 25 is going to be right there. Maybe I should do this in a different color, but anyway, we're looking for where it's going to be at 25, and it looks like it's going to be right around there. All right, that's off our y-axis, so we're going to have to just add some of the y. So that's 40, and it looks like it's a little bit above 40. It looks like it's about 45 or so, about 45. Okay? We can't say for sure what it's going to be, but the answers they're going to give you are going to say things like, less than 20, between 20 and 30, greater than 50, or, between 30 and 45. And right there, it's like, well, we know it's going to be greater than 30 because it's going up. So it has to be greater than 30. And we don't want to overshoot the landing here. It's probably not greater than 50, but it's probably somewhere around the 40, 45 region. And that'll be one of the answers, is that range that it'll fit in. Okay? So the best thing you could do for yourself here is just continue the graph. Draw out the rest of the x-axis, the rest of the y-axis. Continue the line. Line up everything as best you can, and just look at what the data is going to look like. Very good. Okay? The next thing that could happen is interpolation, which, is not really going to happen with a line graph like that. It might be something like this. So we're going to have time, and we're going to have Levi. I'm going to say 200, 65, 300, 72.2. I don't know why I'm adding decimals, whatever. 400, 86.7, and then 500, 94.2. All right, here's something to keep in mind. Independent versus dependent variable, you got to keep those straight, what those mean, because conceptually they'll help you understand an experiment a lot more. If you're looking at this graph and I'm saying, what is the independent, what is the dependent variable? I know this doesn't really make sense. How is Levi even a value? But the scientists control the independent variable, so when it's under their control, they want to use easy values for themselves. So it's pretty clear, if you're in charge of your own values, you wouldn't pick weird stuff like this. You'd pick the 200 to the 500. In terms of hundreds, these are nice numbers that humans really like. So that must be the independent variable, time. And then the dependent variable is the one that they measure. And this makes sense. It's, you can't control what you measure, you just have to measure it. And it's probably not going to be nice values. It's probably going to be, values that are kind of random, which is what we have here. Now, we definitely have this positive correlation as time continues, Levi increases, which, and I know him, and I know that that's true. Levi's definitely increased while I've known him. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So here's what a question might be. At t equals 425,
Levi equals what? Okay? They didn't test 425, but it's between values that we have. So what we have to do here is called interpolation. Inter meaning between. We're looking between values. So you want to put 425 where it would be on the chart, which would be right here. It's going to be between 400 and 500, somewhere in there. So the y value, whatever Levi is going to be, has to be between these things, 86.7 and 94.2. Okay? If it was 450, we could probably say it's going to be smack dab in the middle of there. But it's 425, so it's going to be between them, but it's probably going to be a little closer to 86.7. Maybe around, I don't know, 88 or something like that. That only matters if they give you answers that like have some overlap, not between them, but like we know it'll be between these two. If they have an answer that says between 86.7 and 94.2, good, you're golden. If they ask you, you know, is it going to be closer to 88 or 93? Then it's probably going to be closer to 88 because 425 is a little bit closer to 86.7. Sorry, it's closer to 400 than it is to 500. So, you know, this is a very active section. You want to be writing in your own data, circling things, underlining things, putting in numbers where you think they would logically go, finding the patterns. So don't be afraid to really use that pencil. Connect yourself with the paper. Be one with the pencil. It's an extension of your hand. Pretty soon you'll have nerves that grow into the pencil, so you'll be able to feel things with the pencil. And then finally, after a couple of years, you'll be able to move the pencil without moving your hand, like it's another appendage. And once you got to that point, you win. Levi?
Yes.
Any other questions?
Things that might pop up. You know, they have this occasional previous science knowledge questions that they throw on there. So like there's balancing chemical equations. They might ask you to balance one. They won't ask you to balance more, don't worry. They might ask you understanding genetics, how to do Punnett squares. You know, the big letter, the little letter, the alleles. Occasionally that comes up. And it's probably, if you don't remember how to do that, we probably should talk about it. Is there physics on there? There are passages that have to deal with physics, but you don't need to know any equations, right? This is not testing your previous science knowledge, even though there will be a couple questions that do, but only a couple. This is testing mostly what this looks like it's testing, which is understanding graphs, interpreting experiments, things like that. Can you like the last 10 of some random math section? Sky Reaper, absolutely. We're going. And here we are. All right. Levi, do you want to switch off here?
Oh yeah, let's switch off, dude.
Can't wait to switch off.
Are these good questions for you, or do you want to do something else? This is a relatively random math section, but if you've done it before, then we can do something else. I hate this.
Why?
Bottle where the trigger doesn't go back out.
Oh, I hate that as well.
That's why we work together.
We both hate it.
Mutual hatred. So that's what fuels most education. Hatred.
Yep.
This is fine. All right, Levi, have fun. Very good. Okay, so we have the sum of two positive numbers is 151. The lesser number is 19 more than the square root of the greater number. What is the value of the greater number minus the lesser number? Okay, so this is a building equations question. We're given, it's a word problem, clearly. They don't give us an equation. And we not only have one unknown, we have two unknowns. So when you have two unknowns, don't shy away from building a system of equations. You have multiple relationships between these numbers, so you can build equations that represent both or all of them or whatever they might be. So let's try to do that here. It's basically sentence by sentence, you can generally come up with your equations. So one equation per sentence. So the sum of two positive numbers, okay, so they're positive, so let's call them x and y. So x is greater than 0, y is greater than 0. So x and y are our two numbers. We have that the sum of them is 151. So we're going to do x plus y equals 151. That's simple enough. The lesser number is 19 more than the square root of the greater number. Okay, so let's decide which one of these is greater. Let's say that x is the greater number. So x is greater than y. Okay? Now, these things, people try to understand the idea and then build an equation off of that. That's okay. I would recommend trying that, but also it's a little bit more simple to just directly translate from the English in the sentence, because there are words that translate to mathematical things. So, it says the lesser number. Well, the lesser number is y. So we'll start with that. We have y. The lesser number is. There we go. Is means equals, right? Y is something, so y equals 19 more. So we're going to be adding 19, so we might as well just write 19 in front. 19 plus the square root of the greater number. Okay, so the square root of the greater number, which is x. There we go. Now, this 19 on this side. Some people end up putting it on this side. We have, the lesser number is 19 more than the square root of the greater number. Well, you might think, okay, well, I need to add 19 to y. That's not the case. That's why I want to directly translate from the English sentence and have the word is. Because y is 19 more than this, so you add 19 to this side, right? It's not y plus 19. So keep that in mind. Now we have this system of equations. Is this too, how does everybody feel about this? Do you want me to keep going on this one? Because now this is a relatively run-of-the-mill system of equations solvation thing.
Salvation.
Salvation, yeah.
That's what we're all looking for.
Salvation, exactly. The salvation of tutors, Bird and Levi. I'm going to do substitution. I'm going to plug this y in for that y. So we'll get x plus 19 plus radical x equals 151. I don't love that at all, but it is what it is. So I'm going to subtract 19 from each side. Why is this yellow marker so bad? And then I'm going to come up here. So yeah, I'm going to use pink. This one's not great. So now we have x plus radical x equals 151 minus 19 is going to be 132, right? 132. And now I want to get rid of the radical x because I don't like radicals. And it doesn't seem like there's a good way to do this, so I'm just going to square both. No, that's not going to work either. Brady, why am I having so much trouble with this?
Let me see.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me through.
I'm letting you see.
Let me through. Okay.
What is the best way to get rid of this radical? Oh, of course.
Okay, you can move the x over and then square everything, and then you'll have to do a quadratic. Sum of two positive numbers is 151. Good. The lesser number.
Oh yeah, that's a better idea. So let's subtract x from both sides. We get radical x equals 132 minus x. And now we're going to square both sides. That way we don't have radicals in bad places. So we're going to square this side. We're going to square this side. We get x equals, now squaring this will give a, oh boy, that's gross. Hi, Brady. Oh my gosh.
No, wait. I know we've done this before, so there's something here that we're missing because
I feel like
it should be.
I mean, maybe that wasn't the right thing to plug in, but I don't think it matters.
Plug it in, plug it in.
No one is around you. Say, baby, I love you.
Oh gosh, the lesser number y equals 19 more than the square root of the greater number. Okay, well here's why. If we get a bunch of integers, then the x needs to be a square number. Taking the square root of x, it's got to be a square number, otherwise y is not going to be nice.
Oh, but also, can we do x minus y somehow? No.
Just go through a bunch of squares.
Well, I mean, this will work. I mean, whatever 132 squared is.
It'll take a while.
I mean, it'll just be 132 squared. We have a calculator.
Yeah.
So minus 264, we're going to run out now, x plus x squared. We subtract x from both sides, so we're going to get x squared minus 265x plus 132 equals 0. And then we can do Pythagorean theorem on this. Oh, not Pythagorean theorem, what am I saying? Quadratic formula.
Oh, you know what? If we look at our answers, we can use our answers in a system here. I think that's what Skyreaper's saying. Because, like, if, for instance, if it's f, that would mean that x minus y is 19. We could test that to see if it works.
So x minus y equals 19, x plus y equals 151.
Yeah,
and then
solve that and
see
see
what
if it
happens.
goes in here.
Yeah, that would be the fastest way. This is significantly slower than you want it to be, but you could, there are programs on your calculator you can do this quickly, and you can solve this. It's just gross. I'm not going to do it, because that's way too much work.
Nice.
Yeah. It's important.
Yeah, I got you.
Not do it that way. I wanna scroll down.
Well, I want to do one.
We'll just do 50.
Go to 51.
No, but then we have to change the thing. If we just do 55, it's right here.
All right, fine.
What do you say?
Well, yeah, fine.
Sorry, bird.
It's all right.
There's nothing to be done.
What's the period of the function f of x is equal to cosecant of 4x? All right.
Also, e is cut off, but you'll be fine.
Absolutely. Okay, so hopefully you know what cosecant means. It means 1 over sine. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this function as 1 over sine of 4x. So whatever the period of sine in this case will be the same as the period of cosecant, because it's going to be varying inversely with sine. So like the denominator is just going to be experiencing the period, which will make the whole fraction experience the period. So the question is, though, what does 4 do in this case? And what 4 does, it adjusts the period. So if you have the general sine equation, nope, not that. Y is equal to a sine bx plus c. I'm not going to have the horizontal translation here. Your b is your period adjuster, and b is equal to 2 pi over your period. So in this case, our b is 4. So we want to solve this thing for period. We're going to move period out from underneath. Period is equal to 2 pi over b, which is 4. So this is 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2, which is going to be e. It's not showing us e. I will show you e. And you will see it, and it will be glorious. There. Yes, Levi, I'm going to do another one.
Okay.
Yes.
Here, I'll do it for you. Thank you. We can go to 51.
Sure. Not even sure what it is, but I want to do it.
Oh yeah, this one's nice. Nice and straightforward, mate. Where'd it go?
Go to the right.
I know. You don't know that.
You don't know that I don't know that. Give me 51. Yes.
Or give me death.
That's what Patrick Henry used to say. But they gave him 51, so he's still alive. Great. All right. The list of numbers, 41, 35, 30, x, y, 15, is a median of 25. The mode of the list of numbers is 15. To the nearest whole number, what is the mean of the list? If we knew x and y, we'd be able to figure out the mean of the list pretty easily. The mean is the average. You add them all up and divide by 6. But we don't know x and y, so we have to figure out what those are. There's a clue here. The mode of the list of numbers is 15. The mode is the one that shows up the most. Right now, we only have 15 once in the list, so we need to have it at least twice. Otherwise, we don't have a mode of 15. So one of the numbers here has to be 15. So I'm going to write all the numbers we know in order. Lowest number we have is 15. We have another 15 after that. So we got 15, and then 15, and then we have 30, 35, and 41. And x, we don't know where that goes. We'll have to figure that out. The other clue we have is that the median is 25. We have a total of 6 numbers. If you're taking the median of 6 numbers, you're not going to have a central number. You're going to have 2 central numbers, and you're going to take the average of those 2 to get the median, okay? So let's take a look at the 5 numbers we already have. Are there any that could possibly be the middle that would give us a median of 25? Obviously, these wouldn't, nor would we even need to test those because they're at one end. 15 and 30, that's going to give you 22.5, so that's not going to work. 30 and 35 is going to give you 32.5. We've already skipped the median, okay? So there needs to be an x value somewhere in here that gives us the median that we want. The median that we want is 25, so that's the average of 2 numbers. The way that we could think about this is we either want to have the number make the median. Well, it's going to have to make the median with 30. We're going to have the first 3 numbers, and x is the third number, and then 30, 35, 41. So if it's going to make an average of 25 along with 30, then it itself has to be 20. X has to be 20 because 20 and 30 in the middle would have an average of 25. So that would give us the median that we want. So now that we have all of our values in there, we just need to find the mean, which is adding them all up. So we've got 30 plus 30, which is 60, plus that, which is 80. I'm just going to do this here. That's 80 plus 76. And that's all going to be over 6. So we got 156 over 6. Everything is still even, so that would be 78 over 3. 78 over 3 is not unless it is, because it is. Yes, it is. So that would be 20, 30, 25, 26. 26 will be your answer, which is C. C is for cat. Cats are for what you shouldn't have because you should have dogs.
Cats are what's for breakfast.
Yeah. If we ever get to that point where we don't have enough food that we have to eat our cats. That's 51. Levi, you want to do the next one?
Yeah.
What time is it?
It's 9:15.
Got it.
What time is it there?
Absolutely. Scratch myself there.
Ow.
Oh, I'm jealous.
What are we doing, 52?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I am jealous. Gelouse.
Oh, very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice.
Yeah, I fun with this one. You want it smaller?
Nah. You can cut off the 52, that's fine.
Really? Oh man, I love cropping this thing.
You like that?
I want to be so efficient with our space. Yeah. All right, it's not gonna get much better than that.
Okay.
You want it smaller?
I would like to
Make
get full
bigger?
screen, that's all. I don't like this pink.
You want
Or
that?
yellow.
Is that what you want? Is that what you want?
No,
Oh,
that's not
sorry.
what I want.
Okay.
It's
All right,
not
have
very
fun.
luminescent. Okay, so we have these 2 equations. Great. Where r, s, and t are integers. Great. For which of the following will there be more than one solution with real number coordinates for the system? Okay, I'm not surprised this is number 52. It's pretty hard. But the thing to latch onto in this question is they are talking about the number of solutions. Ignore the answer choices because they're scary. The number of solutions. When you're asked about number of solutions, you're going to be thinking about it in one of 2 ways. Either the equations of the equations of that system have to be a certain way, right? So if there are 0 real solutions, that means those 2 lines are parallel and they never touch, right? If there's exactly 1 solution, or 2 solutions or something like that, if they're exactly 1 solution, then they cross. If there are exactly 2 solutions, then they cross at 2 points, right? So that's how to think about it graphically. And if there are infinite solutions, then they are the same line, right? Because you have an infinite solution, so they can't go elsewhere. They have to be the same thing. This is not that, okay? This is a system of equations that when we try to solve, we're going to get a quadratic. And then they're asking for the number of solutions. When you get the number of solutions and you do quadratic formula, you have the discriminant, which I want to talk about. So if we have an equation in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, y equals that, then we know that x equals not equals y, equals 0. Then we know that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's quadratic formula. The special thing about quadratic formula that tells us the number of solutions that it will provide is that in there, the b squared minus 4ac. If b squared minus 4ac is negative, then you're taking the square root of a negative, which will not yield a real solution, which means that you do not have any real values of x for this equation. But we are saying here, in the question, they're asking for more than one solution. So that means we need a positive value of this discriminant. If you want a full description of discriminant, I'm happy to do that. But please just say more discriminant or something so I know. Otherwise, I'm going to try to figure out what this piece is. I need to get to this point, okay? And the whole point, the way I know to do this is because I recognize they're asking not for a solution, they're asking for how many solutions. So that has to do with visualizing the graphs and figuring out slope and intercept stuff, or, which we're not going to have here because we don't have slope and intercept stuff because we have y equals x squared, so that's a parabola. We're going to be doing the discriminant. So if you want more discriminant stuff, say more discriminant. Okay. So we have these two equations. We have, I'll do it here, y equals x squared, and we have rx plus sy equals t. I understand that these are terrifying, okay? That the answer choices here are scary. So let's just ignore them for a little bit. Let's try to solve. We're trying to get rid of y, so let's do that. Let us substitute this x squared in for that y. So we get rx plus sx squared equals t. So I'm going to rewrite that to have it equal to 0, and I'm going to put the x squared in front. So we have sx squared plus rx minus t equals 0. That is in this format, right? So I'm going to rewrite it over here. Sx squared plus rx minus t equals 0. This is the same thing as our ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So when we're solving for x, we want more than one solution, which means we want the discriminant to be positive. Let's find out what the discriminant is. So b, discriminant is, so I'm just going to write discriminant equals b squared, which is r squared. So we have r squared minus 4 times a, which is s, times c, which is negative t. So now we're going to have a negative t here. And we need that to be greater than 0. Please let me know if this doesn't make sense. So this negative t here will become, we'll just distribute, so we have r squared plus 4st is greater than 0. This is the answer to the question, which means that the answer choice F is correct, yeah? It doesn't seem like anybody has any questions on that. Don't be afraid to comment. I don't know if those of you who aren't commenting and just watching don't have Twitch accounts. I recommend you make them because then you can ask us questions. And it's way, way, way more productive for you. But this might help too.
Hey, Levi.
Oh, yes, Bird.
What's that thing in the corner?
What is that thing in the corner?
Alta Ipsum.
Hey, we're gonna do a little plug for a sponsor, and while we do that, you should definitely find some questions to ask us.
Alta Ipsum is a one-of-a-kind program that you can fit on your smartphone or on your computer. Alta Ipsum allows you to put in your study schedule, track your grades, and set goals.
Yay.
You can outsource all of your stress to Alta Ipsum and then let Alta Ipsum tell you what you should do at any given time. It'll tell you to leave your family and
all of your belongings
all of your
behind
belongings
when
behind.
you run away
Yes.
and join the robots' army of humans and
In Texas.
in Texas.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's the end goal of Alta Ipsum. But
Alta
until
Ipsum.
then, it'll really help with your academics.
Yep.
It's a very cool program.
It's free for the
It's
first month.
free for the month.
A whole month.
If you're like, I'm not gonna get this, it's free. Just get it for a month.
Right.
Now school is over, for probably at most of you.
No, it's not.
Okay,
School's never over.
you're right.
Do you have trouble organizing what you have to do over the summer?
Do you wish there was a way to organize what you have to do during the summer with which you have trouble?
The answer is yes.
Both of those things are true.
The answer is Alta Ipsum.
Yes. Well, the next question would be, would you like a way to, or rather, what is the way that you could possibly plan out those things you have trouble with? And the answer would be Alta Ipsum.
Yes.
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 Levi and I have been on a diet of purely Alta Ipsum for the last several weeks, and we have gained wisdom and lost in experience.
Yes.
Earlier when you were saying, I should say no. Do you have any questions for me? Were you being serious? Because Stanley interview was about it. No, we were kidding. Don't do that.
Sorry.
They'll be asking you questions. Yes, exactly. It's clear that they've asked you all the questions that they want.
Yes, but you should definitely come up with questions. It demonstrates that you are interested in enough in what they do or what they're about. So they can be. Don't make them BS questions like what sets you apart. Don't do that. You don't like getting asked questions like that, so you shouldn't ask people questions like that. That's a dumb question. But you should say something like, okay, well, this is what I know so far about you. Can you explain this thing a little more that you found online? Don't say that you found it online, but it'll be clear that you did your research. You know stuff.
If the person has a wedding ring on, you'll know that they're married.
Yes.
So
and at the end of the interview, say thank you and put your hand on their hand and let it linger.
yes, let it linger
Yep.
until eye contact is broken.
Yep.
And then draw it back as though they were the ones who
Yes.
initiated.
Also, don't speak first.
Yeah.
Make them speak first and second. So they say, hi, how are you? Just look at them.
Just stare at them.
They'll say it again. But then you'll be in control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that. I feel like we shouldn't screw it up too bad.
Yeah, Ring Matthews, I think you know at this point, just do the opposite of the things we're telling you. You should be fine. You should also, so if they are married, at the end of the interview when they say any questions for me, say, how is your marriage going? Because I sense some stress. And see what they say.
Do you need to talk to a high school junior about it?
I've been told I'm a very good listener. Essay, get the essay under the queue. Yay. Yeah, it's another thing that you definitely should not do. How about what do you look for in an ideal candidate?
Nope. Well, okay.
That's fine.
So I would ask that in a slight. Well, actually, the interview is over by that point. Yeah, I would say don't do that, but ask them. What are you looking for this role? Like I'm sure they told you, but and maybe this is a better question for earlier.
I got this.
You got what?
This one.
Which one?
This one.
I
You do
want
that.
this one.
No. Please don't.
Wait.
I have an idea.
Okay. I think I'm not sure exactly how this interview is going. So one question that you might want to have in your back pocket for midway through the interview is asking them what are you looking for in maybe not an ideal candidate because that's sort of geared toward how can I get myself hired right now, but ask them what does an ideal intern in this position do? What can they do to go above and beyond? What is, I know I'll have the role says this. Is there anything on top of that? Is there anything that me bringing to the table could help? Maybe have ideas of what you do bring to the table.
Is this terrifying?
It's not that terrifying.
What about now?
It's a little bit terrifying.
I was always amazed at how powerful just those downward slanty eyebrows could make someone look. Oh, that's cool. It's got like a sweet haircut. It's like a saw blade.
This is how I picture Hono.
Yeah, Hono, this is you. Nerdish, getting the real work done.
Right.
Tuesdays through Thursdays, 8 to 9:30 p.m. EST. What about what else could it have? It looked like Italian Sonic.
Good.
Yeah, that's what we were going for.
Yeah, so the job description is good. Read into that a little bit more.
Oh, maybe you could say, how long have you been working here, and what's your favorite part? They like talking about themselves. That'll make you seem personable.
Yeah. Also, ask them if they've heard of us. And if they have any kids who need to take the SAT or ACT.
Yes, use this as an opportunity to advertise for us. Definitely.
All right, we have another minute. Is there any last question you want to ask us? Tomorrow is the last night before the ACT, and then we're taking a break. It looks like it's your shirt.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, you know what? Maybe we'll give this dude glasses.
Oh.
Probably won't make him.
You know what? But he's
scared.
evil, so maybe a monocle would have been better. Hold on.
He's like
Give
an
him a
evil
body.
rat. How many times did you guys take the SAT or ACT?
In high school?
In high school? I took the SAT once.
I took the ACT thrice.
Yeah.
Once, twice, 3 times an ACT. It's a song.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't make
Yeah,
it up.
and then
Perfect scores? Hey, if I took it 3 times, I probably didn't get a perfect score the first time or the second time.
I actually got a perfect score the first 2 times, and I took it again and sent a lower score the 3rd time.
And I'm not saying I got a perfect score the 3rd time either, but I definitely didn't get a perfect score the first 2 times because the 3rd time would have been completely unnecessary had I done that.
Yeah.
Ring Matthews, it's not about getting a perfect score. It's not about that. It's about getting the best score that you can get. You're in a competition with yourself, all right? That's not how college application offices see it. They see you in competition with everyone else, but that's not how you should see it. You don't go to the gym and say, what's that guy lifting? Let me lift that.
Yeah, nobody's ever done that.
Yeah. How much do colleges really look into
They
SAT
really
scores?
look at them.
Do a perfect score. Oh, so a perfect score. Sky Reaper, what if I said no, but what if I said yes? How would you feel about both those answers? I
Yeah.
don't know. Honestly, I don't remember. Hono, the most important thing that colleges look at are your transcripts and the grades you get in your high-level courses. So if you have, honors level courses, if you're taking the hardest classes and you're getting good grades in them, that's really the most important thing for them. They look at the curriculum choice, so what your school offers and what you've decided to take. And then the third thing they look at is your ACT, SAT scores, and then after that, your essays and your activities and your recommendations and all that stuff. What were your class ranks and GPA in high school? Why does everybody want to know that about us? Are we trying to are we in some position where we're trying to show that we're academically strong or something?
Uh-huh.
Okay. What?
I don't know, Bird.
I don't know. We didn't get class ranks, but we got GPA.
Yeah.
My GPA was pretty good.
Yeah, according to my parents, my class rank was not good enough. I'm just kidding. I don't know what my class rank was, and my parents were very supportive of everything I've ever done, which is awesome. Got very lucky. Okay. I recommend trying as... people will compare you to them all day long. So don't compare yourself to them because you're comparing all of your insecurities to everybody else's PR campaigns about themselves, right? We make ourselves look as good as possible for everybody else and then compare how we actually feel to how everybody else is posturing themselves, and we feel terrible. So don't do that.
Now, as an add-on, not doing that is incredibly difficult. You can't just turn on a switch and then suddenly you no longer care about how you
That's
compare
true.
to other people.
That's true.
That's something that people spend their lives trying to get around and improve their ability to not worry that much about that.
Anytime you feel yourself in that cycle of thought, don't do this part. I throw myself so hard when I look at my grades. People say they're good, but they're not good enough. So...
Oh no, the fact that you're gonna go to college, and you're in America, we think, grand scheme of things, you're gonna be absolutely fine. We have this incredibly, pressure cooker rat race with colleges, and it's crazy. And actually, one of the reasons that we have this is and I've read an article about this, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but in countries with a lot more income inequality, there's way more of a pressure to get a leg up, and so like getting into top name schools is like way more important, and there's way more parental control of their kids to try to do that. In other countries where there's not as much inequality, the pressure to do that is a lot less. Which correlation, causation, who knows? It seems to make sense to me though.
Yeah, here's what I would think, Hono. You're having all these pressures. Keep going. It's a daily process, and there is not going to be a point. We're always told like there is a success level, and there's really not. There are very few people who think, oh, I've made it now,
and I'm now going to be happy forever.
Yeah, we don't feel that way. Yeah, so like Brady and I went to what is considered a very good college, and we had a good time. We loved it. It made us happy, and now we work together, and we like what we do, and neither of us feel like we're successful.
Yep.
I don't feel like I'm successful. He doesn't feel like he's successful.
We have friends that work in Silicon Valley companies that make ungodly amounts of money.
And guess what? The ones I'm actually close to, they're not happy because they're comparing themselves to other people. And the people that make money is not going to be useful to you in happiness after a certain level anyway.
Yes.
There's a certain level that
Definitely
you need.
get yourself to that level.
Yes.
But then after that level, it's not gonna.
My guess is that.
Depends on where you live, but like I've heard some say it's around 60 to 70K.
This is clearly very, very from the hip what we're saying.
Yeah.
But just if anybody is being truly honest, nobody is completely satisfied. So just keep that in mind, that there's not like, okay, you're going to get to this point, and when you're 27 years old, you're going to have made it and be happy. And if you're not, you're a failure. Okay? There are barometers that people set for, and a lot of outside influences are setting, what seems to be the level that you need to get to.
Barack Obameters?
Barometers, yes.
Barack Obameters.
Right. Okay. Not that. Honestly, I would just love to major in performance and music, but like that's not possible for me.
Hano, is it a parent thing?
If you can minor in that type of thing,
yeah,
I would recommend
keep
doing
it up
that.
in your extracurriculars because that balances you out as a person.
Yeah, I honestly, for me, some people think there's more of it. I think Brady does. We're gonna die, which we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, because we took the ACT.
Yeah,
or at least there's a really high 1-to-1 correlation.
Yeah, so. Do keep doing music. If that makes you happy, don't let that go.
Yes. Yeah.
Minor in it.
I did not minor in theater, but I was in shows for all of college pretty much. And I spent a lot of time, and that's what I got really excited about. And my major, I liked my major. Did it make me that excited? No. But I'm glad that I had that on the side.
Yeah, so long story short, do what makes you happy as much as possible. There are pressures, there are responsibilities. You do have to get some things done. You have to take care of business. You do need to do that. But keep doing things that make you happy. If you ever give them up, you will be unhappy.
Yeah.
It will happen. It will sneak up on you, and you will realize, and you will be repressing and dissociating a whole lot and telling yourself that you need to get to some point that you will never achieve, because you're not going to be happy there if you're not happy here, because you're not doing the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
Do the things that make you happy. We don't feel like we've gotten to where we want to go. That feeling is always going to be there because that's a societal pressure of feeling like you need to achieve some level. We're not going to feel that way, and even if we get something, we're still not going to feel that way.
But I feel like I'm doing what I want to do right
now.
But
we are doing what we want to do. The most frustrating thing for me, at least at the moment, I think we've sort of talked about this, is that this stream is not bigger because we're putting in a lot of time and a decent amount of our money, and we're not helping as many people as we think we could.
Yeah.
That's why we ask you guys to tell other people about it, because we're helping you, and it's awesome. Like, it's basically, half the time it's Hono and Matthew, and it's 2-on-2 tutoring session, which is great. And then other people sometimes watch. We would like to help more people. It is extremely frustrating for us that we're not helping more people because there's a lot of gatekeepers for access to students who need this type of stuff. Yeah, it is good for you, for sure. It's very good for you.
Yeah.
And we do want to help. It genuinely makes both of us really happy to help you.
Yeah. Hono, one thing I wanted to say about you wanting to major in performance and music, this I think goes for the arts in general. I'm sure you've heard, but actually maintaining a career in the arts is very difficult. You have to be extremely good. You got to be well connected. You got to be lucky. All this stuff. Not saying it doesn't happen, and not saying that you need to just be at the very top. Otherwise, you're screwed. There's a lot of people that are, high up. Not at the top, but like still making a living. But what I've heard from a lot of people is know what you would do if you couldn't do that thing, and be ready to do this other thing in case you have to. Have something prepared in the backup on deck or whatever. Unless there is absolutely nothing else you could ever see yourself doing. Because like for a while there, I really wanted to pursue theater, and then I sort of started doing education and teaching and tutoring, and I realized, wow, I could actually see myself doing this. I'm glad, because there's something else. Because theater is really, really hard. At least trying to make it. So yeah, keep doing music, but also explore other things and make sure that you have something else. Because if you're lucky, music can work out. It can. There's people that are professional musicians.
Yeah, Brady and I got very lucky in that we actually line up pretty well. We both acted professionally for a little while after we graduated college, and it was fun. It was fun. And then we also both started tutoring to make money on the side, and then we realized it's way more fulfilling on a daily basis, and we love it. And the only thing I would change is how much of an impact we're having and how many private students we have. So we would like to be doing more and having more of an effect with what we're doing, but if money didn't matter, we would be doing the same thing.
Yes.
So we got lucky in that, because we are able to do what we care about doing. Teaching is fantastic.
We stumbled on this well after college.
Yeah.
So I'll tell my friends, just not the weird ants and uggles. That's right. You remember that. Good. Not them. We don't want them. We don't want them. Some people are undesirable. Yeah. What was I gonna say? So again, you're probably watching us going like, man, these guys know what they're doing. And number one, like, not really.
And also number two, you're probably not thinking that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I think when you're in high school, it's like, what am I gonna do? And like, even when you're in college, and people after college still don't really know what they want, and like, that takes a while. It takes a long time to get to that point.
You should be constantly thinking about what you care about and what makes you happy, and consistently doing those things on a daily or weekly basis, not with all of your time, because you have other responsibilities, but do stuff that makes you happy. You're gonna die at the end, so there's not like a goal where you're like, okay, great, infinite life after this, unless that's how you feel religiously, but then it doesn't matter if you do well on the ACT or not.
Maybe.
There's no religion based on the ACT.
No, there's not. But I was going to say, maybe when we're old, they'll be able to copy our minds onto flash drives, hard drives, and we'll be able to keep living. But we can't count on that. So until then, life is finite.
Finito. Well, that means finished, right?
I don't know.
Finito?
It's not Spanish.
Oh, it's not?
No.
It's Spanish.
No.
Oh. Okay, so since you asked for that much of a spiel,
I'll
we
do
gave it
some.
to you. Yeah, nerdish. We're here tomorrow, 8 to 10 probably, right, Bird?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, 8 to 10 unless nobody's asking questions. Last night before the ACT, and then we're off for 3 weeks because we're going to do non-nerdish things. We'll be back in July.
Yeah.
July, yeah.
July, I believe, is it 2nd? That's a Tuesday.
I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever.
What do you think?
Maybe. We'll keep you guys updated on the Discord. Yeah. You'll know when we're coming back. You'll sense it in the air. There'll be a change in the air. Mm-hmm. You'll feel it. Thanks for the stream and life advice. Yeah. Rick Matthews, thank you for watching us.
I feel like I would be the type of, if I were in a high school classroom where kids didn't want to learn the stuff and didn't like actively come to class to learn.
You'd turn a chair around, you'd sit on that chair backwards.
The kids would just ask me like, what do you think about this? And I'd just tangent. Constantly. Yes, so this would represent the things I'm supposed to teach. This would represent what I teach or what I say.
Yeah, and keep in mind that the things that you're supposed to teach are kind of orbiting around a central point, and that the tangent you're going to go on will be at a right angle from that central point to where you start on the tangent. Don't forget that.
I won't.
All right, we're gonna go. It's late.
Yep. Have a good night, everybody.
Have fun, everyone.